Hey guys, just had a few thoughts wanted to share. I'm just sitting here on the bench, not a Group W bench, nor am I waiting for it to come around on the guitar. If you can name those references, I'll give you a shiny new quarter. But what I wanted to talk about today is, you can't turn on the news or get on the internet without watching all of this obsession over race and all of these problems we're having, and they're legitimate problems. There's legitimate claims on both sides. I'm trying to turn this camera so the wind won't be going across the microphone. Maybe this will be better, looking off into the cemetery. And the thing that's occurring to me is, we're living in a country that's a melting pot, all different kind of cultures and religions and backgrounds and personal stories and histories all coming together in one big group of people, and that's just a recipe for conflict. And that is something we should be celebrating, all of this diversity and ethnicity and different backgrounds. I know I find it interesting to meet people of different backgrounds and get to know them, and you can really learn a lot. But there's also, as we can see, you can't turn on the news without seeing that it's also a recipe for conflict. And that's very disturbing, not just to me, I think to everybody. That's why there's so much chatter about that. That's why it's such a big part of the dialogue today. And somehow we've got to all find a way to live together, because we all have a right to be here. We all have a right to pursue our dreams and all of that. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and all of that. We all have a right to that. But we all have a right to our opinions and our beliefs, whether they're right or wrong. And we all have how do I go into where the next stage of this, my thoughts are on this? There's kind of a reactionary thing going on of shutting down any kind of conversation that could be offensive to someone. And I understand both sides of that. I really do. I mean, I don't want to deliberately go out and offend anybody, and I don't want to be offended either. There's things that I hear that I find offensive, and I would rather not hear that. But we also, the other side of that coin is we live in a free country. We have free speech and freedom of being able to pursue our dreams and have our beliefs, whether they're good or bad or right or wrong. And somehow we have to find a way to reconcile that too. And I'll get back to the race thing in a minute. So I don't know what the answer is to that, but I see that problem. That somehow, just shutting down a conversation or shutting down a point of view because you find it offensive is not the answer. And also that gets abused, where people just use that strategically as leverage in a debate or a conversation. Oh, that's offensive, and trying to shut the other person down. Well, that other person has the right to make their opinion and make their thoughts known and to have those opinions, whether they're right or wrong. And if they're wrong, if it's really that bad, they'll be challenged and questioned, and eventually it'll be figured out that it's wrong. Hopefully you get enough feedback that maybe you start to rethink your position on that. But the other part I wanted to make as far as race is it's a difficult thing, and it's upsetting and confusing, because I think most people know that all black people aren't criminals and all white people aren't racist. But there are black people who are criminals, there are white people who are racists, and the bad ones on each side of that, the black people who are criminals and the white people who are racist, sure make it harder for the black people who aren't criminals and the white people who aren't racist. Because there are people out there who will say, there you go, there's your proof. See how black people are, see how white people are. And that's very damaging. So the people who are on the wrong side of that, of each of those equations, are doing a whole lot of damage to their race, to their demographic, and to society at large. And one of the things I keep coming back to is, as someone who I like to believe is a compassionate person with a little bit of integrity and character and love of people, if there is someone out there who legitimately is being singled out or discriminated because of their race or their religion or their background, I'm the first one to step up and say, hey, that's not right. We need to do something about that. But flip that coin over, and you got some asshole out there who is a criminal and is playing the race card to either get the police off their back or play that for leverage in court to get out of it, to get out of whatever the charges are, that's about as low as it gets. And you're doing damage to your race and your culture, religion, whatever demographic you're in. I'm not trying to single out black people or white people, because there's good things and bad things about every race and culture and religion. Most people are good people, but you get bad seeds in every group. And those assholes make it harder for the rest. And then we all have to fight it out, and all kinds of innocent people get blamed and hurt. And it's disturbing and upsetting to see that. So somehow we need to, if we're going to talk about this, we have to single out and say, hey, if you're doing something that's illegal or immoral or unethical or wrong by whatever standard, and it's hard to have a standard because morality and all of that means different things to different people, it means different things to different people. That's what we need to single out, and not just paint the broad brush of, see, that's how that whole group is. And that's hard to do, and I don't know what the answer is to that. But I see it, and it's upsetting, and I'm sure you see it too as a viewer of this. You can't live in this society today, in this culture today, without hearing the chatter on that. And it's horrible, it's upsetting. And it's a real problem, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. I think it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better, and that's very troubling, very disturbing. I see potential for violence and a whole lot of other things that are not good. None of that stuff is good. So I don't know what my point in all this is, but just sharing my thoughts and want to see how it resonates with people. If any of this resonates with you, please weigh in and share your thoughts. If you think it's a bunch of bullshit, that's fine too. Hopefully you'll be civil, but it's a free country. You can flame me and tell me I'm an effing idiot if you want. I don't care. I have a right to express my opinions, and so do you. That's part of living in a free society, is that we have the right to say what we want, say what we believe, and even if it's messed up. And people also have the right to question it and challenge it. You think about the opposite. If we were to go forward with this whole mindset of shutting down conversations just because we find it offensive, that's a path toward totalitarianism. I don't think that's anything that anybody wants, where, you know, there's this entity that's the self-imposed arbiter of public opinion, and any dissent gets shut down. And as that grows and gets momentum, now you could start seeing a police state where, you know, people could be jailed for having a dissenting opinion, or questioning anything about a government or a religion or anything. And that's not right. I don't think that's right. I don't want to live in a world like that. I hope you don't either. But anyway, thanks for watching and sharing my view here in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. Over and out, babies. Have a good one.